Is it worth going to this incredibly popular, expensive restaurant in Disney World, and has it gotten worse? Let's find out. Hey everybody, we are here at the Our Guest restaurant in the Magic Kingdom. This is one of the most popular, hard to get reservations in all of Walt Disney World because you are dining inside the Beast Castle. But ever since it reopened, people are saying it's gotten way worse and it's not worth the price anymore. Should we go in and find out? I think we should. Let's be our guest. Well, their guest. We're their guests. The theming for this restaurant starts on the very outside when you look up and see the castle from far away. That forced perspective working magic and wonderment because it's way far away. We're just little lowly passengers trying to go up to the castle, and there it is up there. But you can see the beautiful wrought iron gates. You see the gargoyles welcoming you. When the restaurant's not open, the gates are closed and it looks scary and spooky and intimidating, just like in the movie. But unlike in the movie, none of the objects have ever talked to me when I'm in there, but maybe today's the day. Can I ask you something? Are you just a gargoyle, or are you a person that's now a gargoyle? Be Our Guest restaurant opened in 2012 along with the expansion of Fantasyland. This is when they opened up this whole Beauty and the Beast area, including Enchanted Tales with Belle, the restaurant, Gaston's Tavern, along with the Under the Sea Journey, the Little Mermaid attraction, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. That whole area, biggest expansion Magic Kingdom had ever seen, happened in 2012. And this restaurant has gone through some big changes ever since. One thing that hasn't changed though, it's real hard to get in there. One of the most popular dining reservations in all of Walt Disney World, one of the fastest to go. In fact, I would say since there's not character dining at Cinderella's Royal Table right now, it's tied for CRT for being the most popular restaurant in Disney. Maybe throw in a splash of Space 220 and there's your trifecta. All right, the cast member let me know my table was ready and I could head towards the front. They'll either let you know once you check in or they'll send you that push notification or text message if you do the check-in through the app. And now we enter the Beast Castle. What a fun detail I want to point out before we get in there. You'll notice this beautiful mosaic of the old beggar woman coming to the prince, him refusing her for the price of the rose, and she turns into a beautiful enchantress and is like, boy, you are rude and you are cursed now. Now we wait here for them to call my name. The main thing that comes into question when deciding whether or not you want to book Be Our Guest restaurant, there's no doubt that it's absolutely gorgeous and the food is good, but the biggest complaint people have is that ever since the parks reopened, it was converted into a 3-course signature dining meal for lunch and dinner. Prior to the closure, it was a quick service restaurant for breakfast and lunch and a prefix signature meal only at dinner. So breakfast and lunch back when this restaurant opened was a quick service restaurant. So you could come into this gorgeous, absolutely amazing restaurant and pay quick service prices. They were a little more expensive than a regular quick service, but to get in this restaurant, and it was very high quality quick service food that was served on real plates, real silverware. It was things like a delicious pork. They had incredible French onion soup. They had a prime rib sandwich. They had quiche. Really, really good food. So my recommendation was always to come here for lunch. So you got the very good quick service meal and into the restaurant, but you didn't have to pay for the signature. What a lot of people don't like now is that you have to do the prefix $60+ an adult meal to eat here at all, lunch or dinner, and they're not even open for breakfast right now. But we're gonna see if it's worth it. But also the Beast is here. Now, back in the before times, at dinner only, the Beast would actually meet in his lounge here, and you could take photos with him. But of course, they can't do that right now. So every few minutes or so, they will announce that he's coming, and he'll just walk between all the tables. It's kind of a surprise and delight moment. Just like other character meals, where you're sitting depends how close you're going to get to him. They ask you to remain seated, so you could get really close to him, or you could be like me, a few rows back from him. But it's kind of just like a pop-up, hey, look, there's the Beast kind of moment. He doesn't stop or take pictures or anything like that. Because this is a sit-down restaurant, there is alcohol available if you are of age and choose to have a drink. You probably know there's not alcohol available anywhere but sit-down restaurants in the Magic Kingdom, and you have to have a reservation. You can't walk up and get a drink. But you can have one with dinner. They have some private label champagnes and wines that if you were to order the bottle, the label would be exclusive to Disney World. They, of course, have champagne wine, red and white. And then they also have a few beers. No cocktails, except for the Squid's Revenge, which makes me just shudder thinking about it. It's not on the menu. It's a fun secret menu treat, which makes me like literally want to cry. Included with your prefix meal, though, is a non-alcoholic, non-specialty beverage. So alcohol, things like this fancy coffee, specialty non-alcoholic beverages are being upcharged, but you can get water, soda, tea, plain coffee, juice, that kind of thing included with your prefix meal, which is again $62 for adults and $37 for kids 3 to 9. I did like to get a fancy coffee, so this is a latte. They've also got cappuccinos and espresso if you'd like that. And then they start you out before your 3 courses with a little bit of bread and butter. So it's just standard dinner rolls, a little bit of salted butter. And that's how my meal is getting started. So taking a look at the menu, again, it's a prefix, so you pick 3. So for starters, there's the Nemo Octopus, which is also for the 50th. There's a French onion soup, which is their signature, a salad, plant-based, a meat and cheese board, and then there's a lobster bisque. For your entrees, they've got a pork tenderloin, some veggies, which is a plant-based option, the filet mignon, which is the most popular, scallops and chicken. And then for dessert, they bring you a trio, which includes the gray stuff. So the dessert is really cute. For your kids, they have a simple salad, a fruit and cheese plate, or some peach applesauce for their starters. For the kids' entrees, they can have a little bit of beef, chicken, or macaroni and cheese. And then their dessert, they get a really cute little dessert trio as well. So it's, again, $62 for adults, $37 for kids, and lunch and dinner are the same now. Course 1 has officially arrived. I got the French onion soup because, obviously, that's their signature. This is one of my favorite things to get when it was a quick service meal. I loved this, and I loved the quiche. So it's got all that yummy Gruyere cheese on there, rich broth. Let's get into it. Look at the cheese. Look at the cheese. Look at the cheese. Yum. It is really good French onion soup. It's not salty. Sometimes French onion soup can be salty. I love that Gruyere cheese on there. The broth is rich, but somehow not super overwhelming. And I'm eating it elegantly. I am the beast. You know that scene in Beauty and the Beast, and the beast tries to eat soup or porridge or whatever? That's how I eat. It's really good soup. I don't know if it's the best French onion soup on property. That might either be over at Steakhouse 71 or Yachtsman has great French onion soup. But it's very excellent, and it's what I like to start with here because it's one of their signature items. The meat and cheese board is also very substantial, but this is a little more unique. And I'll have a little coffee. Ooh, that's a good latte. It's not flavored or anything. I'm sure it came out of one of those machines where you just hit the button latte, but it tastes good. And I haven't had coffee yet today. Now things are. Sometimes you're like doing other stuff. I was watching other videos, working out, scooted over to the Magic Kingdom, studying some coffee. I felt like treating myself because I'm in the castle. But it's not better than like going to the Joffrey's card. So I wouldn't say you necessarily need to upcharge some fancy coffee, but it is good. I'm also gonna eat some of this bread. It's just bread with butter. It's good. There's nothing that exciting about it. Pro tip though, you can use the bread to sop up the bottom of your soup. One thing that was especially cool when this was a quick service restaurant was when you'd order, they'd give you an enchanted rose to put on your table, and then you'd sit down afterwards. You'd order first in an enchanted room, and then you'd put the rose on your table, and they would know where you're sitting based on the rose, and the cast members would just appear with these beautiful carts, and they'd bring you your food because of the magic of the castle. So they still use the pretty carts to bring the food when you're coming now, but it was kind of fun of like, how do they know where I'm sitting? Magic. My entree is here per the customer's recommendation and my own mouse recommendation. I went for the filet. This is the most popular entree, she said, and probably the one that's going to give you the most bang for your buck when you're paying a prefix cost. So it comes with some potatoes, seasonal vegetables, a cipollini garlic puree, and a red wine puree. So you can take a look at it there. Looks pretty tasty. Got some nice greens on there, lots of potatoes. Big steak with the red wine sauce. Let's cut into this, baby. I asked for a medium rare. Hello. I will say, as someone who shot the steak throwdown recently, so it's not cutting quite as smoothly as the fillets over at like Le Cellier and Yachtsman. Not too bad. Let's get a little potato, a little steak. There's some green beans. There's our seasonal veggie. Those potatoes are so good. The steak is very good. It's really tender, Lots of rich flavor. I love the red wine sauce. The green beans are cooked perfectly, a little crisp in there, and the Yukon potatoes are like unbelievably good. Is this steak worth its portion of the $62? Probably. Honestly, this restaurant is a lot like Cinderella's Royal Table, but better in the sense that you're paying to come in here. The food is not the best thing about this restaurant, which is why people are sad the quick service is gone, because you could get in here for a lot less money. I think you can get better steak at a lot of restaurants. You can certainly get better steak at Le Cellier, at Shula's, at Yachtsman, at Steakhouse 71. You're gonna get better steak. Is it bad steak? No. Is it good steak? Yeah. Is it great steak? I don't know. It's good. I'm not mad about it. It's definitely the most bang for your buck entree, but I don't think it's a $60 steak. And finally, it's time for dessert. So unless you have an allergy or a plant-based eater, everyone gets this dessert as an adult. It's a little trio. There is an almond macaron with a raspberry filling and a lemon curd jam in there, which looks amazing. We're gonna save this one for last. There is this dark chocolate truffle, and it's got Grand Marnier ganache in there. The alcohol's cooked out though, so kids can eat it if they want to, don't worry. And then this is the most exciting thing about it. It's the chocolate tart, and it's made with the gray stuff, which, you know, try the gray stuff. It's delicious. Don't believe me, ask the dishes. Excuse me, mug. Would you say this is delicious?
Yes.
Okay, that makes me feel better about drinking out of you. But it makes me feel weird that I'm still talking to you. I'm going to eat these in the order of how excited I am to eat them, from least excited to most excited. So that means the truffles first. There's a delicious fruit filling in there too. That's very good. It's incredibly rich. Dark chocolate, little raspberry filling in there. It's good. No complaint. I'm just not normally a truffle person. We're gonna do the macaron next. I do love a lemon treat, and I love a macaron. That is excellent. I love the almond cookie. A little bit of sweetness from the raspberry, a little bit of tartness from the lemon. Not super overwhelmingly sickly sweet, really great. And now we must, as we were instructed by the song, try the gray stuff. So the gray stuff comes in like a chocolate little pastry shell, but the gray stuff itself is a cookies and cream mousse. Signature recipe. It is light and airy and fluffy and delicious. I could eat just a bowl of it. I don't need the chocolate shell or anything, but it is fabulous and truly delicious. There's a closer look at that gray stuff filling, and what I will point out is the kids' dessert is super cute as well. It's a little white chocolate chip, the cup, like a little white chocolate cup with an edible paint that they get to paint on him, and then it's got the gray stuff in it. So kids will get the gray stuff too in a very cute dessert. Obviously, one of the best things about a restaurant like this is the detail and the setting. That's why you're in here. You're in here because you love Beauty and the Beast and you want to go into the Beast Castle, and I don't blame you. But one of my favorite details, if you look up at the ceiling, you will notice the little cherubs. Those are not just random little angelic babies. Those are actually pictures of the Imagineers who worked on this restaurant as children or of their children, which is really cool. Another great thing to look for here in the ballroom is the fact that it's snowing outside. And it's always snowing outside here at Be Our Guest, even though we're in Florida. It's magical enchanted snow because the night that the Belle and the Beast fell in love, it was snowing outside the window. Moving right along into the West Wing. This is one of the dining rooms you could eat in. This is, of course, where the Beasts had a few temper tantrums. About every 10 minutes, you will hear thunder and a magical enchanted petal will fall from the rose. Pay attention to this portrait of the prince because he does turn into the Beast just for a second. Here you've got the enchanted rose, which is really cool to come look at, as well as the magic mirror. One of my favorite details in this restaurant is one most people don't notice, and that they're playing the soundtrack to Beauty and the Beast in 3 different styles, but it's always the same song. So when you're here in the West Wing, it's kind of a very slow, morose version of the song, a little bit lower, a little bit darker. Then when you get into the ballroom, it's the more orchestral version you recognize of the song. And then when you go into the Rose Room, the music continues, and the music box is playing the song. Speaking of this music box, absolutely gorgeous. Carved wood made this amazing music box, and it was a gift from Maurice, Belle's father, to Belle and Beast as a wedding present. What's very cool about this music box is you can actually see the blueprints for it over at Enchanted Tales with Belle. Now, Enchanted Tales with Belle still hasn't reopened, but it's over next door, and that's where you can meet Belle, and she tells the story of Beauty and the Beast. But before you get to see Belle, you go into Maurice's workshop, and you can see a lot of his blueprints and some of his inventions. And if you look on his workshop desk, you can actually see the prints for this music box, which is a very cool Easter egg. This is the Rose Room, which is not in the movie at all. It's a room the Imagineers made up for this restaurant as kind of a gallery, a love room of Belle and the Beast. So it's got this incredible music box that I pointed out, as well as gorgeous tapestries and paintings of Belle and the Beast. Okay, I can hear the music box playing Belle, the opening song now. So let's see if it continues. Yep, and now they're playing Belle. So one of my favorite things is if you look up at the light fixtures, they look like crowns. Hi, did you say? You look good. So if you look at the light fixtures going through, this is the original flow of the restaurant for the quick service, is you'd go through the armory first and then you'd come in here to order. If you look at the light fixtures, they are all one crown. They're all designed to look like different crowns, but they're all just one crown. Very masculine, kind of gentlemanly crown in here, because this is the master's study. Then you would have had your meal. You would have been where Belle and the Beast fell in love. It's magical, it's wonderful. And the light fixtures on your way out are now two crowns, because they have become united. And there's a great photo op here where you can sit in the master's chair, not the master's chair. You may remember that from the film. This is another of my favorite things in the restaurant, and not many people come in here anymore because you don't have to order in here anymore, you just get seated. But if you listen, the suits of armor are in fact enchanted, and they will speak to each other, or they'll cough, or they'll sneeze, and it's really funny. This wonderful caster just showed me there's a hidden Mickey in his weapon right there. That's awesome. Do you need a tissue? I also love looking at all of the carving and the creatures that are within the castle, because if you look, just like in the movie, there's different creatures. They kind of look mean in the movie and then they become good again. This guy looks really sad. Like, this guy looks like he's had a bad day. But you know what? He's carrying the weight of this castle literally on his back. And I just wanted to tell you, sir, that you're doing a good job. If no one else has told you that today, I'm gonna tell you that. Anyway, I think it's weird that the Beast is carved into this, because like presumably that means the Beast carved his own beastly face into the castle before he became a beast. Do you think that's what the Enchantress used for inspiration? Like, she was like, all right, I'm gonna turn you into a beast. Oh look, that's convenient, that's a good one to use. I'll just design you after your own house. I don't know, I have a lot of questions. And then before you leave, don't forget to look at this beautiful mosaic of course, the final scene of Beauty and the Beast, when everything is magical and they live happily ever after. This gorgeous mosaic, a great place to take a photo. Just finished eating at Be Our Guest restaurant, and it really was a delightful meal. Going in there is immersion like no other. It truly feels like you are inside the story. It's an absolutely gorgeous restaurant, and the food is good. Like a lot of these restaurants, like Cinderella's Royal Table, like Coral Reef, like most character dining, the food alone is not worth the high cost. You're paying to go into this setting. You are paying the $62 per adult to be in the Beast Castle. Alone, the food is definitely not worth that much, but the food is good. I think it's safe to say that when there was the option to do quick service versus just a signature full service meal, that was a preferred option. It's definitely worse now that the only way to get in there is to have a 3-course meal. And that's not just because it's more expensive, it also takes a lot of time. And if you've got a busy Magic Kingdom day, you probably don't want to spend an hour and a half or longer inside of a very lengthy 3-course meal. But that's just the way it is right now. There's no saying if it's going to come back. They are filling it up. It's hard to get a reservation, so they're clearly selling it. There's not a lot of motivation for Disney to make it a quick service again, financially speaking. No one can tell you whether or not this is a good idea for your family. I think this is definitely a beautiful restaurant. It's kind of one of those one-and-done restaurants, in my opinion. It's just, again, like Chef Mickey's or Cinderella's Royal Table or the Coral Reef, where you want to go, experience it, do it one time, go into the castle. You'll be absolutely amazed by how beautiful it is, and then you probably don't don't need to do it again. The Imagineering details are great, so if you have always wanted to come in here, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. It's just probably not a multi-visit vacation destination. Hopefully this helped you, show you a little bit about what it's like inside, showed you what the menu can look like. Let us know what other restaurants you want to see reviewed in the comments, and in the meantime, go watch this review of the most underrated character meal ever. Thanks for watching!